I'm actually very humbled to be amongst you guys because all of you are very highly evolved and very smart people. I know that because I can tune into you. I make a habit of surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me. Actually, it's always nice that way, whether it be in my business or whatever I'm doing. I want to share with you a couple of stories first and anecdotes before we do some practical stuff. About 3 years ago, I was going through a past life transgression? Regression. Here's a transgression because I'm supposed to be in this life, right? And during that, so basically I was asked this question, go back into as many lives, go back as far back as you can to a time where you were most powerful. And so just imagine this, imagine yourself in my shoes, I'm at the top of this temple. It's like Aztec type temple, so it's very square, at the very top. And there are in circles, there are people sitting on the floor, chanting, holding hands, and just connecting to each other. And I'm joined by my wife and my daughter. They come up, and they join us, and we have this slightly bigger circle. So we've got several circles here, and I'm a high priest there. And it just blew me away with what happened, because you have to really experience it. And what we were doing was we were literally connecting our heart energies to each other. Every single one of us were healing each other with our hearts. Once we did that as the whole group, we then started transmitting our energies locally, nationally, and then globally. Population's a bit smaller than it is now. And we're like how the pyramids were once upon a time, which is all about expansion of consciousness. We were the beings expanding consciousness purely through our hearts. That was the land of Mu, which I didn't know much about. Interesting that I'm with somebody called Mu right now. And I discovered all of this only prior to meeting her, and I'll tell you a bit about that because there's a connection there. We then connected our hearts together, and it's like, you know, when you bring light together and you focus it as one, it's like a laser beam. And we started moving celestial bodies, planets, with our hearts. And I know this to be true. It's not something I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I know it to be true. We are that powerful. Our hearts are that powerful. So I was on a journey. I was thinking, how the heck am I going to learn how to do this? Because
was this something actually physically happened to you?
This has happened to me. I'm not making this up. This actually happened to me.
Okay.
And it takes me a little while for it to sink in.
Yeah. And
I thought, oh my God. The heart. I know the heart's important. I know that unconditional loving is the most important thing. That is it. There's nothing else. Nothing. Everything else is an illusion. So we live in this illusory world. Last year, I would consider was one of my darkest years, business-wise, family-wise, relationship-wise, and so this is where I met Paul Wong, early on in the summer, and he has a process called opening the heart, and we did some work, and me being me, I wanted to go very deep in the work, and I went so deep into the work that my whole body couldn't handle it. So I actually fell ill for 4 weeks. 2 weeks I was bedridden. Now, like Simon, I don't get ill. So for me to be even bedridden, I've never been bedridden in my adult life. So 2 weeks solid, I was detoxing, and it took another 2 weeks to get strong again. And I realized that the old me was gone. When the heart opens high enough, the old remnants of you just dissolve away. Yeah, physically I'm still here. Since then, I've had the most amazing transformation of my life. Career-wise, business-wise, relationship-wise. For me, the most important thing, actually, I'll tell you, the most important thing for me was my relationship. I was adopted. I was raised by my grandparents. My mum was a teenage mom. Arranged marriage and everything. But they adopted me, left my country, Bangladesh, when I was 5. All my life I felt something was missing. And when my grandparents died, it felt even more so, and I never felt that connection with my parents. They were my parents. And so But there was something missing in my life, and I kept searching and searching, and finally, after I had the heart healing done, I let go. Totally and utterly surrendered. There was nothing for me to... Some people say, oh, you're so ambitious. I'm not ambitious. Really. I have a radio station and we create a TV station. I'm following guidance. It's nothing to do with ambition. I care for it because it's guidance, but I don't have that desire that I must do this and become famous. I've done the fame bits, I've done the number one bits, and it was only when I let go of all my connection to having a desire to having any kind of relationship, completely let go. For the first time in my life, I was happy being alone, single. I wasn't lonely anymore. I was married once upon a time, but I was alone. I was with her, but I was alone. I was now single. I was like, this is amazing. And other people would say, oh, Harun, maybe you want a relation. Actually, no, I'm actually really, really happy. And then I meet somebody at South Bank, and I see her, and I go, and inside of me it went, ugh! And I said, no, I don't want to fall in love again. Keep me away from her. Instantly, it was just the connection was there. Our connection goes way back. And we were talking yesterday, and I said about, and this is not about me and Muriel, but it's really relating a human story. And I said, you know what? I found the best role model for me in terms of couple, for us. We are the best role model. There is nobody out there. I'm not saying other people aren't role models. We are the best role models for each other. A, because of the love. B, because we trigger the shit out of each other like crazy. I want you to imagine you're floating around in space. You got a spacesuit on, really nice spacesuit, funky colours. You got the music you want to play, and you're just floating around, and it's not dark, it's light. And imagine you're floating around, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And then you think, I could do with a bit of a rock, something to stand on. And you wish for a rock under your feet. All of a sudden you see a rock. It's the size of planet Mars, maybe even bigger. Desert, bit of mountainous area, nothing else, just barren. And you look around, you go, wouldn't it be nice if there's grass and trees and plants? And all of a sudden you see this lush planet. Like in Avatar, you've got all these beautiful trees and plants everywhere. Then you think, how cool it would be if there were animals and birds. Wild ones can be far away, and all of a sudden you got all these animals and birds and singing and making their funny noises and mating and cooing, whatever animals and birds do most of the day. Then you think, I'm alone, I've got none of my own kind. I wish there were people like me on the planet. I'm a nice person, I'm a nice girl, nice girl, nice guy. I want someone who's really caring, loving, compassionate to be on the planet. Someone like me. All of a sudden there's like thousands of people around you and think, oh my God, they even look like me. And you have a great time, and after a while you go, oh, it's boring, they're all like me. I've got nothing to talk about because they know everything I'm going to talk about. I know what they're going to talk about. So you wish for maybe cities and towns and villages and different locations and even borders. And you wish for people who are taller than you, smaller than you, fatter, skinnier, darker, lighter. All of a sudden you look around and you're on planet Earth. The world you live in right now is the one you created. I very often, Muriel thinks I'm crazy sometimes, I often say, and in my world, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is my world. I've manifested you into my world, and you've manifested me and everybody else around you. So we say we're spiritual beings having a human experience, but we act like we're physical beings occasionally having a spiritual experience. Oh, meditate. But every little aspect is a spiritual experience. Be it the violence I received from my father from when I was about 5 years old. That was part of my spiritual experience for me to evolve to that next level. Be it whether getting mugged at a young age, being almost kidnapped at knife point, be it winning British kickboxing championships, getting married, getting divorced, this is all part of the human experience. Spiritual being having a human experience. And what we do is, from the moment we're born with our heart open 100%. Heart energy is flowing. And then we meet these lovely people called mum mum and dad, and brother and sister, maybe cousins, friends, peers, teachers, authority figures, Tony Blair. And we get these experiences which are like, some are amazing and some are not so amazing. But for some reason, maybe it's a physical survival instinct thing, certainly conditioning, we tend to remember the negative more than the positive. So if I was to say, given the choice between a compliment and criticism, Sarah, what would you prefer? You'd say compliment, right? So why is it then most of us hold on to a criticism longer? Someone, I can throw you 10 compliments, 20 or 100, and I give you one criticism and you'll remember that. So what happens is, it's a bit like, I was driving down here, I had to pick up a car because I'm London based mainly, but I live in Leicester. So I went to a car showroom, not showroom, a rental place, and they're rubbish. I went to the next one, the one that I regularly use, and they rushed a car for me and said, I need to go, I've got to say, I love it, I've got these flowers, and I meant you. So they rushed me this car, they said, look, we've got to wash it. I said, look, just don't even need to wash it, just bring it over. They washed it, they cleaned it, it's clear, it's outside here, and dripping wet, soaking. It was as if it was just been given birth to. And I jump in the car, driving down here and coming down some country lanes, and insects getting splattered on the windscreen. So imagine that you're driving in those conditions for hours, maybe weeks, maybe years, where you got the insects getting squished on the windscreen. Sorry about the graphics, but that's how it is. And you're not wiping the windscreen clean. What happens? Can't see the road ahead, right? And if you do see the road ahead, it's so tainted and tarnished by everything else on the windscreen that it actually could be quite dangerous. And so it is with our heart. We're open on this beautiful, beautiful heart. You know it to be true. When you look at a child, what are they doing? Giggling, gurgling, laughing, smiling. That's all they know. They have no condition. They're in that space of unconditional love, which every single one of you have been. They go out and do things, and as I mentioned during the talk at the Entrepreneurs Club, a child, apparently, scientists have said, psychologists have said, a child makes 11,000 attempts from crawling to standing and walking. 11,000 times they get it wrong before they get it right. But with all the conditioning, so our parents say, hey, come on baby, you can do it. My darling, we love you, you can do it, you're brilliant. My sons say, you're amazing, you're great. No matter how many times they fall. And at some point, we don't go, the parents, for those of you who are parents, don't turn around to your child and say, you've had 5,000 attempts at this walking thing. Probably not for you, right? So just leave it, we love you anyway. You don't, you encourage them. But then what happens? You want them to talk as well, and you go, come on son, come on. Daddy, oh my God, Abu, and the mother say, Amma or Mummy or whatever. So you can't wait for them to talk. And then they say the first words. In my case, it was Abu. I'm stronger in that sense, a lot more influential on my kids. So they start talking and they start asking you questions. Like why this and why and why and why, especially when they're 3 years, right? And then the parents, they can't wait for them to walk and talk, and then as soon as they start walking and talking properly, they can't wait for the child to sit down and shut up. So they send them to school instead. And the schooling system is very traumatic. I know so because I've seen how my kids were. They came back traumatized from school on a regular basis. And so what we're going to do here is open up the heart. There are a particular process that I've learned. I've integrated my elements into it as well. And the great news is this, that all this conditioning that we have, you can wipe it clean. I promise you, you can wipe it clean so quickly, it's so rapid. Simon is 100% correct about the heart and the heart energy. I don't need to repeat that. We have grown up to be in the state of fear and survival. The 99%, I haven't said the percentage yet. So by the time we're adults, from 100% open heart, most people, their hearts have shut down to only 1% of energy flowing. That's a truism. It's very few people on the planet have got their heart open, which is kind of like good news because you're in a good space right here. But what happens when your heart's opened? You're no longer survival and fear based. Don't get me wrong, I've not mastered it. I'd be enlightened if I was mastered it. I wouldn't be here. I'd be oming up there somewhere, or everywhere, or nowhere. When your heart's fully open, your relationships change. It's all about relationships. Your relationship with yourself changes. You start honouring who, and more importantly, what you really are. You start valuing, your self-esteem changes. Your relationship with other human beings change. Your relationship with money changes. Your relationship with careers. Food. Everything, the divine. Everything shifts. After having gone through the process of me getting my heart opened, it felt like surgery. There was times, oh my God, I cried like a baby. There was one time I was just like bawling out because a trigger was found, which I thought wasn't such a big issue. But it took me 20 minutes. I was crying, like I could not stop. I thought, oh my God, I can't say. You know when you go into some kind of panic? I wasn't in panic attack, but like panic attack, you think, oh my God, I'm going to die. It's like, oh my God, I'm not going to stop crying. 20 minutes solid. Because the right trigger was pulled. I've had people who've come to me who've been sexually abused. And we're talking about really from minor stuff, which is never minor, to the very horrendous, really, I won't repeat them because I never do. I don't repeat people's stuff. I've had people who've had relationship issues where they're at each other's throat and they kind of only end it and they get back together. But then I've had people who've totally not meant for each other. The great news about heart is this: when your heart is open, people say, oh, I'm authentic. No, you're not unless your heart's open. You can't be authentic. Authentic means you are speaking your truth. You're living your truth. So when your heart's closed, or closed when I say closed, I mean your heart's all open. The other thing about heart is this: when soon as somebody says, oh, my heart's all open, I was like, yeah, right, okay, that's the ego talking. So when your heart's open enough, you don't have to talk about how open your heart is. There's no competition anymore. I had somebody say that to me yesterday. Oh, my heart's all open. So really, okay. So tell me about your business. Oh, and then she went on, and I thought, okay, so you mean you're not manifesting? So the first thing is to even recognize that right now, this week is about walking away with a clean slate. And when your heart's open, you become authentic. When you become authentic, you become transparent. When you become transparent, you sense everybody's authenticity. As Simon says, your deals that you do, you know when someone's bullshitting you. I'm an entrepreneur through and through. From when I was 12 years old, worked full time for my father's business, selling curry. Worked in corporate world. But I tell you, the biggest challenge in the business world, and they are the big change makers, the biggest challenge is everyone's in their head. But there are people coming through, coming from the heart. And that's what I'm looking for. So I'm actually here, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, is to share with my team on my radio station, my TV station. We do this work with my relationship. I'll tell you, is it okay if we say? First time we met, I knew, we weren't on a date, we just met. And I just said, by the way, I don't want to be a healer, I don't want to be a therapist, I don't want to be a coach, your mentor, your business partners. Clear that up. And please go and get some heart healing done. Here's one of my colleagues. I didn't insist on it, but she did go. That's important to me. And we know by having that open for both of you, you can then understand that she is my best teacher ever. Because she'll trigger me in areas which I go, no, I don't need this. And I'll do the same. I do that really well for her as well. But then we know we've got something to work on. And that is spiritual being having the human experience. And it's the same with every aspect. Anyone who pisses you off is a good teacher for you.
Yeah.
Anybody. If they trigger you, think of it this way. If you see it, it's inside of you. If it's somebody who inspires, I get people to, especially the younger clients, I say to them, give me 2 or 3 things you like about me. You don't know me. Characteristics. Not how good looking I am, but characteristics. And they'll say something like, authentic, confident, or whatever they say. And I'd say, let me ask you this question. So, are you authentic? Yeah. Are you confident? Yeah. So all the positive things they see in me is just them. So I don't take it personally. Say as many nice things as you want to me. I won't take it personally. Say as many horrible things as you want to me. Don't take it personally. It's a bit more difficult when you're in a relationship, but we can work around that. So she's nice to me. She doesn't say anything horrible much. So your greatest teachers are those who trigger you. So let's do this. How many of you are up for playing?
Yeah, we play.
Yeah.
For play.
Playing, yes. Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Okay. So the stuff we talk about doesn't have to be. It's not about. It's not counselling. So I call it heart energy activation only because I just put my own thing into it. You know, somebody else calls it opening the heart. Someone else calls it heart work. It's all the same thing. So it's not counselling. So when someone comes to me, it's not like they have to tell me all their life story. I actually don't want to know. This is the thing about when someone gets raped, they relive all the crap they went through. So I don't need to know that. It's not talk therapy, and there are people who do talk therapy, and that's okay. It only works for 25-30% of the people. And it's
Money
about,
as much as that.
apparently so. Apparently so. But I mean, but then as far as I'm concerned, also 70% of the people aren't getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
So it's not about, okay, I'll talk and talk and talk, and me to be a facilitator where I'm saying, okay, that'll be £125, £150. Next time, that's another 100. That's not what it's about. I really don't want to work with too many people. I don't want to work with people loads and loads of sessions. One session, bugger off, don't ever come see me. Don't go and see anyone else. Just be in that amazing space. It's not hypnotherapy or any other kind of therapy, anything like that. It is actually transmission of energy. And here's the beautiful thing. As your heart's already opening more, even being in this space, is when you go and speak to somebody, just mere fact that you're in that same energy space, their heart starts opening. Not as high as yours, but indirectly it starts affecting them. Well, it has a direct effect, it's not even indirect. It's a direct effect.